Well, well. Talking about a bad week for the press. We're talking about BuzzFeed's bungling and attempted character assassination on Ben Shapiro, the March for Life, and answering your questions. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I'm in a car.
Welcome back to Micah and The Hatman on Politics Live. And yes, folks, you did hear that right. Hatman is broadcasting live from the Hatmobile. And Hatman's got life stuff to do today, so that's why we're going a little bit early.
Yeah,
and
birthday dinners and such, so that's what happens.
So everybody give happy birthday to the Hatman.
Yeah, it's not till Monday officially, so you have all weekend to send your presents and your $1 million bills and Social Security numbers and bank cards and whatever. So you've got time. Don't worry. No need to rush.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get started. BuzzFeed.
How stupid shit in the bed.
Yeah, how stupid first off, here's the question. How stupid do you have to be to believe BuzzFeed in the first place?
Well, that's the thing. Trust but verify kind of goes both ways. I know it's BuzzFeed, just like New York Times, just like Wall Street Journal, just like Washington Post. But this is why we verify. Because then we get shit like this.
Yes.
And then we catch people in lies. And on top of it, just the way that it all unfolded is phenomenal. I mean, Mueller's team actually had to come out and say, yeah, this report is inaccurate. They've never done that for anything before. This is the first and so far only time that they've ever made such an announcement. And now you've got everyone scrambling and saying, well, he just said that some of the things in there were inaccurate. He didn't deny the whole report, so it could still be true. I don't know, Tim. I don't think so.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see where it goes. The basic idea was that there was a report that came out that Trump had they had found evidence, I think, that Trump had told Cohen to lie to the Senate.
Yes.
And
well, they said it was part of his testimony.
Yeah.
To Mueller, that he said Trump had directed him to lie to Congress regarding the Trump Tower in Russia project. And the way that they framed the story was that this was basically Trump's backup plan in case he lost the election. And
yes.
it seems plausible given like everything that Cohen has talked about. It seems like something that he would say, whether it was factual or not. But then you actually look at the details and you find out, yeah, actually, no. It turns out that one of the reporters is known for falsifying sources and claiming them as anonymous. And I think the other one ended up like getting nominated for a Pulitzer or something. So you're like, okay, something's kind of weird here. And then when CNN turns against you, you know you're screwed. I think that was the cherry on top of everything. Even CNN saying, yeah, this is just a bad day for journalism.
Yeah, but this is probably one of the silliest things I've seen in a long time, because like I said to Rich Johnston at Bleeding Cool, name names, cite sources, or shut the fuck up. Because there's no reason to trust you if you can't.
Oh, that's the problem. When you do have secretive information like that, and this is, journalism 102 maybe, if people will come forward with it under the agreement of anonymity, you can publish it. You can say like it's an anonymous source, but you have to be like very, very certain, and you have to like give all the information to your editors and whoever is above you so that they can actually roll with it, so they know that it's the truth that's being printed.
Yes.
Like, that's how Watergate got kicked off. I mean, that was an anonymous source. But again, you have to, like, verify it at all levels. You can't just say, well, I trust you guys. Just go ahead and roll with it. You wouldn't lie to me. You wouldn't lie to me. Just assume that everyone is bullshitting you and verify it. That's why we say trust but verify.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that when you're dealing with an anonymous source, which I had people when I was, like, during Gamergate email me about stories, and some of them were not legitimate when I looked into them, but that's the part that you have to do. You get an anonymous tip from someone, you have to start asking for comments. You have to start asking around to people that might be involved in something like this. And the very idea that BuzzFeed could not do that is ridiculous to me. It seems to me like they ran with the story because they got one little thing, and they are in Orange Man bad mode, so they just went with it. And this is what happens, is you kill your credibility right out of the gate.
Yep.
And by the way, you won't see them issue corrections on this one.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, no, because they have even said, like, after the comments from Mueller's team came out, that they stand by the reporting. Like, okay, what? You literally just had someone call you on your bullshit, and you're going to double down on that?
Yeah.
Like, how retarded can you be?
Incredibly.
But again, this is the state of Trump-era journalism. It really is. If Orange Man bad, run story.
Yes.
And they wonder why people don't trust the press.
I certainly don't. But this is just typical. And this is going to be a constant theme throughout the day, is the press lying about things. And thinking that just because they have a blue check mark next to their name on Twitter that people are just going to believe them.
Don't work that way, sunshine.
No. Like, Twitter, this is something that I've been noticing on social media a lot lately, is that woke Twitter does not have the effect that they would like to think that they do. It doesn't really back them up like they think it would. Most people hate woke Twitter now, because they'll pounce on anything that disagrees with them. It is ridiculous. So, this is the unfortunate thing about it. This is why journalism, everybody's allowed to have their biases, but when you're acting like the sitting president is some sort of a fucking Manchurian candidate, and he's not, but you're trying so desperately to prove that he is, like, you don't want to be wrong. What the hell's wrong with you at that point? Like, I legitimately wonder if any of these people are gonna look at themselves 10 years from now and go, what the fuck was I doing? Absolutely silly. So, like what Donald Trump had said to the concept of Nancy Pelosi traveling anytime soon, fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. So, the March for Life. Big event every year. I wish I could have gone myself, but...
The better women's march.
Yes, the march that matters. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about a certain Jew that apparently scares several people, and that is Ben Shapiro. Now, Ben would probably be, I would say at this point, he's probably the most popular conservative figure in the media today. If not one of, if not top 3. He is...
definitely the most popular one that is not hosting on Fox News.
Yes, though he did have his own show for a short time.
Yes.
It was just like an election miniseries, I think. But it was a good one, too. But, Ben was doing his podcast from the Women's March. He was also the keynote speaker and so on and so forth.
The March for Life.
The March for Life. Brain not working today. So, as he's there, he's doing his podcast, and he brings up the old Kafka trap of Baby Hitler. And we'll get to that in the Kafka trap here in a second. But a clip of what he's talking about in the whole Baby Hitler thing, in the idea of not killing Baby Hitler, was snipped out of context and selectively edited by a progressive protester and put on Twitter. And then it spread wide to the point where Ben was the #1 trend on Twitter for a point in time.
So was Baby Hitler.
Yes. And, of course, it was all lies. And then, of course, you had woke Twitter coming out and lying about Ben. Jeet here actually said that Ben chortled at the death of Trayvon Martin. And I'm like, none of that is true.
No.
Like
none of that happened.
He never did that. What are you talking about, crazy person? Crazy Islam man. Why are you stupid? Why are you this stupid? Why are you lying? Stop being stupid and lying. I'm going to smack you. But Ben Shapiro, of course, and a lot of people, and this is what I was talking about with woke Twitter not really working anymore, is woke Twitter came out and started their bullshit. After woke Twitter came out and started their bullshit, everybody else started firing back on them and posted the whole clip in its proper context, and basically this blue check mark asshole got a real reaming. And I'm pretty I think for a short time he actually started protecting his tweets.
I don't know. I didn't see him protecting his tweets because he's blocked me anyway. So I couldn't fucking tell you.
Yeah, I was surprised I wasn't blocked. But
I guess I would kill Baby Hitler quicker than you would, Mike.
Well, let's talk about this, because I will say this about the whole thing. I thought that bringing up Baby Hitler was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because the Baby Hitler thing is a Kafka trap. And I actually mentioned this on the Patrons Discord server today in a discussion with some people, is they were like, well, if somebody asked me the Baby Hitler question, here's what I say. You don't answer the question. It's a fucking trap. Yeah. Insert Admiral Akbar here. It's a trap. It's a Kafka trap. There is no right answer.
No.
You don't answer the question. You point out the fact it's a trap. It's almost as an effective Kafka trap as, does my butt look big in this?
No, you just have a really huge ass. The pants are fine.
Yes. So
like the proper answer to the Baby Hitler question is that would create a time paradox.
Snake, you've created a time paradox. But no, in all seriousness, like there is no right answer. If you say yes, I would kill Baby Hitler. OMG, you'd kill baby? Some pro-lifer you are. And if you say no, you wouldn't, then the fascism or something like that. Like there is no right answer, which is why you have two options. You can either call out the fact that it's a trap, or B, you can make fun of the question. I made fun of the question yesterday. I'm like, no, I'd wait till he's a teenager and beat him to death with a giant maul. But and what happened afterwards is unfortunate, is one of Ben's sponsors, Quip Toothbrushes, ended up pulling their sponsorship from him and his show, which was a low move. They said that they did not endorse the March for Life officially and so on and so forth. It's like, nobody said you were.
Yeah, you're not endorsing something that... It's like, if Ben Shapiro went to a Red Lobster, like, are you endorsing Red Lobster because someone you sponsor went there to eat? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's abject silliness, because I think about this to myself. I'm like, all right, you know who he is. You know his stances. He is, if he's not the biggest conservative in media today, he's one of them. And easily the most popular on the internet, I would say. And everybody loves him. Everybody knows his stances. It's public knowledge. Who he is and what he stands for. And yet, here we are. And, like, why are you surprised that he would do that? He always does his ad placements, which you're supposed to do, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I would imagine, with as big as the Daily Wire has gotten, that these sponsors are paying quite a bit of money.
Mm-hmm. And he was at the last March for Life too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was there for the last one. He was a speaker there too. He wasn't the keynote, but yeah.
If you didn't know, then you're just ignorant.
Yeah, you would have to be an idiot to not know his stances at this point.
Although, of course, it could just be the usual, like, Sleeping Giants-esque type pressure.
Well, and that's what I'm starting to think. You know, we've seen them go after Hannity. We've seen them go after what's her face, Laura Ingraham, you know, and others. It would not surprise me if Ben is next. And then they start going after man crates, which, by the way, the whiskey crate looks great. But they go after man crates. They go after Dollar Shave Club. They go after what's another one? Birch Gold, which is his longest time sponsor. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they started doing things like that, because he has a different opinion, ergo he must be destroyed.
Oh, and that's the thing too. Like, we've seen, you know, them progressively move from, you know, one person that is really, really disliked to, you know, one person that's liked relatively more, and then keep going down that totem pole. And Ben Shapiro, you know, compared to, for example, Alex Jones, or even, hell, like Sean Hannity, he is not as widely despised as either of those two.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like, you know, and he's really middle of the road compared to the other popular conservatives currently out there today.
Yeah, you don't see Ben, like, going full on 100% loyalist for any one politician. If he thinks you're wrong, he will tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, this feels like, you know, yeah, if they do really start going in hard against him, that it's another way to make it to where if you're conservative, you're not going to have any sort of advertisers at all.
Pretty much.
Make sure of that.
It's the unfortunate part of politics these days, is that people act like, you know, these sorts of folks must be destroyed. But in the information age, you cannot get away with it so easily. The very idea that people are going to just let it happen is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, like, I understand what their method is they boil the frog. Like we've talked about over and over again.
Yes.
You know, and they're starting to cross lines now. You know, you cross the Ben Shapiro line with his sponsors. Don't be surprised if that's like crossing the Sargon line when it comes to Patreon. Because Patreon lost two of their bigger names in Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't be surprising if Quip, all of a sudden, if their business is gone by tomorrow. Because of this with Ben. So, and we'll be talking more about marketing a little bit later. Which, by the way, I am a Ben Shapiro listener. And if you wonder exactly how my face looks this good, or at least the shaving part of it, I do use the Dollar Shave Club. They're actually not one of our sponsors, but I do swear by them. They're great. All right.
There you go. Free endorsement.
Yes. So, the March for Life. I have actually had opportunities to go to the March for Life over the years. Like, ever since I was in college, I keep turning it down. I'm probably going to stop doing so. I wish I could have gone this year. I completely forgot that it was happening this weekend. But I also didn't want to fly somewhere when there's a winter storm going on. I'm snowed in currently.
Yeah.
So, the March for Life, though, is interesting. Because the press refused to talk about it. it has been going on longer and is much bigger, and it is not reviled, unlike the Women's March. And this is something we're going to be doing, is we're going to be basically comparing and contrasting the two today. Is the Women's March is falling apart. The leaders of it are anti-Semites. They love them some Louis Farrakhan.
Specifically Tamika Mallory and Linda Sarsour.
Yes.
I mean, Tamika Mallory was confronted, like, to her face by Meghan McCain on The View, of all places.
She would not confirm that Israel has a right to exist.
Yeah, well, she was specifically asked to condemn Farrakhan's anti-Semitism, and she just said, no, I disagree, and she kept dodging the whole fucking time. It was incredible. And then Linda Sarsour today, like, just posted some BS article about how the problem with women's unity are white women and Jews. Fairly certain there's a reason why they've lost not only 300 sponsors, but the fucking DNC.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The DNC knew who they were getting in bed with.
Oh, absolutely they knew.
They had to have known. And they don't care. They have embraced anti-Semitism and hatred.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's...
I mean, Keith Ellison's their deputy chair, or was their deputy chair. Now he's fucking, what, Attorney General of Minnesota or something?
Yes, and head of the Slapaho tribe. But, the March for Life, on the other hand, this is a march that was where Donald Trump was the keynote speaker last year. Where Pence actually called in. Well, Pence was the speaker at it last year. Pence called in during Shapiro's show to discuss it with him, because they're doing stuff with the border right now, so they're not available at the moment for travel, because they're actually taking the shutdown seriously. And they're not creating extra expenditures. So, which good on Trump and Pence for sure. But one thing that's interesting when I compare these two marches is obviously the Women's March gets all this media attention as some wonderful thing. When they're marching for... What are they marching for?
The right to oust Donald Trump from office?
I thought it was like for some rights or something. Which my question is...
Fairly certain they already have equal rights to men and have since 1964.
Yes. Well, since even before then. Like what the fuck are you missing?
Yeah, like I mean, even abortion. Like if they're marching for that, okay, you've had that since Roe v. Wade. It is pretty much safe in the Supreme Court too. I don't know what you're angry about. I don't either. That's why I think I guess it's the right to oust Trump.
It is because whammon. That is basically it. It is because whammon.
Pussy hats.
Yeah.
The pussy hats are like the brain aliens from Futurama.
Something like that.
The brain leashes or whatever it was.
Because
y'all know what I'm talking about.
It really is like it's not really the Women's March. It's the march against a straw man. There's this giant Donald Trump straw man that they are marching against. Something Handmaid's Tale, which is a shitty show. Something Harry Potter, read a different fucking book, etc., etc. The March for Life, though, is actually marching for something, which is why I have it here that it is the march that matters. The fact of the matter is that there are people within the United States who treat unborn life like an inconvenience. Look, children are hard to deal with. Children take time, take money, take dedication. And by all means, they're not easy to raise. But at the same time, life is a positive thing. It is absolutely a positive thing. And I cannot abide by this idea of, like, abortion on demand or something along those lines. How on earth can you say something like that? I should have the right to kill when I choose. Because I can't take that question as anything else. Or I can't take that statement as anything else, man. I can't.
And have other people pay for it on top of that.
Yes.
That's...
But let's be honest about what the current pushes for abortion are. They are for the attempt at getting a consequence-free existence. That is what a good subset of the left wants. A consequence-free existence. Such things do not exist. They don't exist. It will never exist. You will never have a consequence-free right. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That is a law of physics. And
it's a law of reality.
Yes. This will always be a touchy topic for me because, again, I am a post-Roe v. Wade adoption. I am of the belief that there is a responsibility that all of us have when we wake up in the morning and we live. And we participate in the world around us. Anytime that you get into bed with someone else of the opposite gender and all the plumbing is working, there is a chance of baby. That will always be there. Even with as much protection as you use, it can happen. My best friend had his first son about 6-7 months ago. And his fiance has been on birth control for as long as I can remember. Still had a kid. It happened.
Yep.
But here's the thing. Their son's an adorable little dude. He's awesome. But that's the thing. Is we have this idea in our lives that we can create this reality where nothing bad ever happens. No. Utopia is nonsense. The March for Life is, in my opinion, a march that takes the world for what it is and marches for the rights of humans that aren't completely recognized. And I think that in this day and age, we need to look at the way that our world is and say to ourselves, what is our commentary on life? Do we find life to be a precious thing? Or do we not? I think the March for Life says, life is precious. All life is precious. On top of that, I mean, what is the backbone of the United States? It's the family. Let me just put it this way, guys. Just choose life. Seriously. It is... It's a wonderful thing. And I'm very happy that I'm alive. Instead of in a trash bin somewhere.
As a living person, I like being not dead.
Yes. Alright, let's move on. Gillette. The best a soy boy can get.
Let's talk about a razor blade company cutting their own throats.
Yeah, that is a very good way to put it. You know, I want to say it was Brian Martinez who asked me this at one point after my Men's Issues Week stuff. He said, No, it wasn't. It wasn't Brian Martinez. It was Max Kolbe. Max asked me. He goes, "Micah, are you an MRA?" I go, "No, but they're right about everything." And I'm kind of saying the same thing here, because this was one of the most blatantly anti-man advertisements I've ever seen in my life. And let's think about this, guys. The Gillette forever has marketed towards dudes, and it sold razors. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We make the things that keep your face looking nice, so you don't look like a scraggly asshole. That's simple. That's all you have to do to sell a razor. This razor works. It makes your face smooth. The person you are with will like your face afterwards. Sold! I'll take 10.
It's not difficult.
No. It's like selling sandwiches. It's not hard. That's why I love Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has always been about selling sandwiches. We make chicken sandwiches. We make the best chicken sandwiches. If you eat one of our chicken sandwiches, it will taste good and you will be happy. Sold! I'll take 10.
And I will eat 10.
Yes. So, I think to myself, what pray tell would possess someone to start insulting the primary people that you sell to?
I mean, let's break down the commercial a little bit, because there are still people out there who are convinced like they did nothing wrong. The framing device that they use is the guys that this is normal for men. The whole Me Too thing. So, like, sexually assaulting women and raping women is normal for men. Toxic masculinity, the idea that men are always combative and fighting one another and stuff, that's normal. That's not the default. I mean, I've even heard feminists say, like, men are not all rapists by default. So then why the hell is Gillette trying to sell that?
Yeah.
It's the idea that they're not trying to tell you to be better, as in be a better man. They're trying to say, don't be you, because being a normal man is bad. You have to change that, and you have to change everything for the future, for your children. I mean, the guys is, men are bad, men should be better. We're going to do that with razor blades, apparently.
I can't forget the Gavin McInnes speech of Be Butter when he's mocking Michelle Obama. Be better. Be better. Shut up. You be better. Calling us all rapists. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone to think for a second. What's the most ridiculous thing that Jim Sterling has ever said? He's fat.
Oh, God.
Obviously, he's fat. But the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen him say is that all men are potential rapists. Maybe you are, fat boy.
Hello?
But not the...
Isn't he the guy who got really pissed off when they said all black people are potential criminals or all Muslims are potential terrorists?
Yes. Because old Tubby is a sensitive ball of lard. But this idea that there is this giant rape problem in the world, like outside of the fucking Middle East, or the Congo, fuck off, first and foremost. And second, if you wanted to promote like men being positive, why don't you like say, oh, we're because we believe that men can be a positive force in the world, we're donating X amount of dollars to mentoring programs across the United States. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. You know? Like, what? Why? Why must men be bad? It's idiotic. You know, we had some good conversations with Ethan Van Sciver, and I think the one thing that Ethan and I think we both have a grasp of is who our audience is and what we're selling. You know, when I say I'm putting together a comic book called Project Lazarus, I know my demographic is young men. I know that. And women, too, because they're going to like the fact that I focus on characterization, because women like that sort of stuff. Whereas the dudes are going to be like, did he just rip a spine out of that fucking demon? That was awesome! Like, that sort of stuff is, you know your audience, though. If you are ignorant of your audience, it is like owning a steakhouse, and then when business starts, you go outside, you start chucking bricks at all the cars that are pulling up.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna do anything for you. I mean, you don't market a product to men by insulting them. I mean, that it almost reminds me in a way of those like extreme products from like the late 90s, early 2000s that were basically like, you're not man enough for this shit.
Yeah. And
they didn't fucking last very long because people felt insulted by that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very similar to that, except now it's under the guise of, well, we'll get woke men. We'll get the soy boys that don't have fucking beards anyway.
Or the ones that have like long hipster beards that they don't shave anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, who is this commercial for?
Women, I'm guessing, man-hating women, and soy boys. Like, because that's a theory that's been floated around, is that they're actually wanting to market more towards women, and they think that this is going to work. And my thought is, it's like, fuck you.
Well, to be fair, it did fucking work, because pretty much all of the positive coverage that I saw was coming from women.
Yeah. All of which are probably single and have 10 cats.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Once again, my face is fucking smooth. This was not done by Gillette, folks. But Dollar Shave Club, like, the first thing they tweeted on that day was, welcome to the club.
Mm-hmm.
Other razor companies are marketing against this because they know their audiences.
Yeah. Even Harry's Razors, which had previously put out a woke campaign on Twitter, deleted that tweet.
Yeah.
So people would want to come to them. Even they took advantage of Gillette's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah. Incredible. So basically, folks, if you want to be big and masculine and have facial hair that looks this good, don't buy Gillette. No, I seriously, like, I will say this, though, even though they're not a sponsor, I will swear by the Dollar Shave Club. Like, higher quality razors, and to be frank with you, it just really just, they're so much cheaper. I pay like $8 a month for 4 razors, and they're just as good as Gillette ones. And on top of that, their other products are really good too, especially the shave butter. Like, just to show folks this, because we're going to start jumping into Q&A anyway. You see how, like, precise... Oh, Foxhelm, thank you. How precise this line is? Like, that's because I can actually see where the hair is at. I don't have, like, white stuff all over my face. That came out wrong. But I don't have shave gel all over my face, and I can't see what I'm doing. You know, the butter works a lot better because you can actually get more precise with it. As you can see, like, I'm very particular about my facial hair. So, I don't think Dollar Shave Club would ever sponsor us, but I don't think that we're really looking to get sponsors either for now. I prefer to be fan-funded.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Foxhelm just donated $5 and says, fuck Gillette. You know what? Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
Ah, I love that button.
Yeah. But, hell, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, it's time for Q&A.
It is time for Q&A.
So I will go ahead and, since Hatman is on the move, I will do my best to take care of everything.
Well, I'm parked right now. We got a question through email, actually. And for those of you who don't know, and I put this in a comment on last week's Overflow, if you don't have Twitter, you can't watch the show on time, don't leave us a comment in the Overflow videos. We are not going to take questions from those.
Yeah.
Twitter, using the hashtag Micah Q&A, make sure you use that hashtag. And tag us in there if you want us to see it for sure, but make sure you use the hashtag. Getting your questions in here, and the Discord server, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Toss in a dollar into the Patreon coffer and you get in. But you can also email me your questions. Alex@hatman.net. Simple email. You can always email the questions and we will hit them on the show. But we did get a question from the email from Serena. Serena says, I watch you and Micah every week. Thank you very much. I wanted to know if there is a lefty version of Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson who have just as good argumentative and debating skills. Also, Micah, I can't wait for Project Lazarus.
Thank you, buddy. Lefty. Well, left-leaning, I would say the Weinstein brothers, Brett and, damn it, what's his brother's name? My brain just completely blanked. Just, oh, Eric. Brett and Eric Weinstein, I would say, are really good, and, their podcasts have been, or their discussions with Joe Rogan as well have been really good. Especially the one with Brett and his wife discussing sex and from an evolutionary biologist perspective is really good. That was one of my favorite Joe Rogan Experience episodes ever. And then Christina Hoff Sommers, I would say, is really good as well. Who's a left-leaning woman who is very good in a debate and very, very knowledgeable as well. So, and her book, The War on Boys, is really good.
I would call her more of like a centrist than anything else. I know she's registered Democrat, and she has considered herself as a liberal, but I would still call her more of a centrist.
Well, that's the funny thing, is judging by the way that the Overton window has been shifted, by that definition, they're centrist, but really they are of the left. Same with Dave Rubin. Though he considers himself a libertarian now, he's left-leaning. You know? So yeah, that'd be my recommendation. What about you, Hatman?
Really, I don't know who are on the levels of Shapiro and Peterson.
Well, here's the thing: if you're looking for progressives that are like that, you're not going to find them.
Yeah. See that, and see that's what I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of someone like that, like just the polar opposite. But like
the people that always get recommended to me are like Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske, but neither of those guys are very good in an argument.
No, like ContraPoints was recommended to me once, and I'm like, no. Contra kind of uses strawmans way constantly. Too often.
She does what Jim Sterling does.
Yeah.
Strawman argument, Texas sharpshooter, appeal to emotion in that order.
Though I will give her credit for being open to debate right-wingers at the very least, but the skills are not exactly up to par.
No, not at all. But that's the problem with progressivism in general, is it's not really a position that's based on facts. It's based largely on emotion. And that just doesn't stand in a debate. So that's why I prefer, again, like some of the ones that I had mentioned. All right, we're still getting through. We got to get through these quick. From Twitter, we have our Dank Horse Elric. asks, I'm curious, as Republicans, how would you explain the South switching from blue to red? I'm assuming you probably don't believe in the Southern strategy, especially since you refer to the GOP as the party of Lincoln, but what else would explain the South switching allegiances roughly around the time of the Civil Rights Act?
Okay, that did not happen around the time of the Civil Rights Act.
No, it actually happened later than that. It was more around
1993.
Well, actually, before that even, it was more so around, or started rather, during the Reagan era.
Yes, but it really solidified itself during the Republican Revolution, or whatever you want to call it, after Newt Gingrich became Speaker.
Yeah,
that's really where it started to shift, and I guess that'd be 1994, not 93.
Yeah, but that was the big part of it. But it had started years beforehand, when there were more troops and bases that started getting opened down south.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Nixon won a fuck ton of southern states.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Carter won several southern states when he ran, and they came after the Civil Rights Act.
Yep.
Over 10 years after the Civil Rights Act at that point. So no, it did not just suddenly flip. That is a myth.
Yeah, the Southern strategy is nonsense.
Yeah.
So. All right. So there's that question. Now we had a couple on the Discord server. And Talon has a question. For the political podcast, with journalists constantly putting their political beliefs on blast, and with the thing with BuzzFeed actively lying on the news, why is there no sort of force to police journalists or help keep things from happening? It seems like any time a fake story happens, it just gets shrugged off and they carry it on like nothing ever happened. Well, their business does get hurt by it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. I don't think that there should be some sort of police for that, because that would be policing the First Amendment. They have the freedom to lie. It's just people will recognize lies. And, but that's the important thing about telling the truth, is why you should constantly be truthful, because if you get caught in a lie, you will pay for it.
Yeah.
We're not, we're not in that consequence-free society. I don't see them getting away with this. When CNN is admitting that these guys fucked up, when your own side won't even back you, you've got problems. You really screwed the pooch.
Yeah. I mean, there are some legal protections against blatantly lying, but that's
those are in civil court.
Libel and slander, yeah.
So, but that's why civil court exists.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, there's defamation of character, and I guess you could even throw intentional infliction of emotional distress in there too, because press has been known to get that in there. But
and then there's what our boy Zach is suing Mark Wade over, which is tortious interference.
Yes.
So yeah, there's stuff in civil court that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, but it's not criminal.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, Holy Ninjato says, for the political podcast, thoughts on California church essentially kicking out its pastor over a sign, and how is there a debate on the biblical definition of gender? California sucks.
Yeah, California's stupid. How is there a debate on the biblical definition of gender? Because it's the same debate over whether or not gender is equivalent to sex.
Yes.
Like, he made them male and female is the citation, and we did talk about in the Discord, but it just goes right back to whether or not that's sex or gender, and whether or not the two are intertwined or completely different. That's the debate. It's not so much a debate over whether or not the Bible's talked about gender. It's something completely different, but because you've got that passage in there, the Bible gets dragged into it.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the chat. Foxhelm asks, Pelosi being grounded by Trump, thoughts? Ha 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 ha. Hey, if she's going to cancel the State of the Union for over nonsense, which, like they said, it was over security concerns, there were no security concerns.
Security concerns? Like what? Was Nancy going to bum rush him?
Yeah. Like, there was no security concerns. No, shut up. So, it's her own damn fault. What else we got here? Proposed that now we call the pink-pointed feminazi hats pig ears. No, I prefer pussy hats because the idea of putting a vagina on your head is idiotic. That's dumber than putting pig ears on your head.
Yeah, that is true.
Have we ever noticed that? Oh, this is from Autist Whisperer. It says, have we ever noticed all the people who complain about masculinity always seem to be sexless femtards or really overly feminine men? Why is that? They can't fit into the gene pool. Well, I think it is that for some men who aren't as masculine as others, that it is a point of jealousy.
Yeah, I would say so. It's ironically enough, these same people like to criticize the whole beta male, alpha male, friend zoning sort of mentality, the red pill stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And yet they basically exhibit those same things.
Yes.
It's just different logic behind it, but it's the same shit.
What else we got here? Thoughts on... let's see here. After some random searching, I've learned that in Texas you can carry knives and swords in public, but excluding some areas. Do you know some other states with similar laws? Well, there are several southern states that do something kind of like that. Yeah, that law actually went through in Texas when I was there last year. So the company I was doing security for at the time would not let me carry a gun. So I bought a knife and carried it on my belt. Because there wasn't a ruling that excluded knives. So I carried one for security. I had it on my hip.
I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, technically technically that falls under the right to bear arms.
Yes.
So let's see. Where's this one? Do you think the people would be defending the Gillette ad if it targeted women instead? From Chris Jones.
No.
Targeted women. How?
Like if it treated women like a bunch of bitchy harpies, I probably I wouldn't.
Yeah, if
wouldn't.
That happened,
no,
absolutely not.
It might be worth a meme and maybe a laugh, but I wouldn't defend it. I would be like
something on Twitter about it actually. Like if they had showed basically clips from Mean Girls, and World Star with women fucking beating the shit out of each other. Or that shitty cyberbully movie that came out however many years ago, and tried to say that's how women and girls are and you need to do better. Like, no, that'd be wrong too, because that's fucking bullshit. And that would be the female equivalent of this, I'd imagine. Or even if you really want to go far, fucking over men in divorce court and over parental rights.
Yeah. Let's see here. Autist Whisperer says, thoughts on the woman who shot a mugger in self-defense and the lefties batted for the criminal instead of the victim? Typical.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
Good on her.
Yeah. Fuck him. You trying to steal your shit.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Never gets old.
No, it doesn't. There's your good news. A woman was going to be mugged, and Sam Colt's great equalizer helped her out.
Exactly. Let's see here. Derek Mozzarella says, I'm a young man who's never had much exposure to Christianity, but is interested in learning more. Where would you advise I start? The first thing I would ask you to watch would be Ravi Zacharias' lecture, which is called Why I'm Not an Atheist. It's a brilliant lecture about atheism's effect and its lack of answers for society. And it is probably one of my favorite lectures ever from a Christian scholar. After that, I would read the book Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. And then, of course, read the Bible, of course.
Yeah,
but one thing that I have noticed with the internet is when people come to me with this, they want to understand not just what the Bible says, because a lot of the things morally that the Bible says they probably already agree with. It's why you should believe there is a God. Why should you believe he has an effect? Why should you believe that he is a conscious being that exists within the universe? Those are the questions that they want answered before they start diving into the rabbit hole that is Christianity. So yeah, that would be my recommendations. Let's see here. Cooper's Revenge Home asks, wasn't killing baby Hitler the plot of A Twilight Zone, where the twist was the woman was directly responsible for creating Hitler by killing baby Hitler? I thought that was a different one that we talked about on the Overflow, where a guy unleashed Satan from a church, and it started World War II.
We just talked about that on the Overflow, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm like, I think that's what you're thinking of, Cooper's Revenge.
Was responsible for creating Hitler by killing baby.
Because I don't remember a baby Hitler episode.
I don't. There was I swear there was a Hitler episode, but I don't remember it. But what I'm thinking of now is the Dictator's Mirror, where it's basically Fidel Castro, and whenever he looks in this mirror, he always sees somebody trying to stab him in the back, and he ends up like killing all of his friends and shit.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
But I swear I remember a Hitler episode, but I don't remember like it being a baby Hitler sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. But let's see here.
You might be onto something, Koopa.
Yeah. Hardworld Entertainment says, how do we stop the stupid cowardice of sponsors in the face of woke Twitter? Well, here's the thing. My thing is that I always try to encourage the sponsors that decide to stick around, and I'll even consider buying their products at least once.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, it tells me that the people who run the company have a backbone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just give them encouragement. Say that you will buy their product, as opposed to I won't buy your products if you do this. Say you will buy their products.
Yeah,
you will switch.
Yeah, with one good example would be it's like with me and Chick-fil-A. Like during the whole Chick-fil-A hates gays,
mm-hmm.
I went to a Chick-fil-A and bought a bunch of sandwiches. And that was the first time I had ever eaten Chick-fil-A. I haven't looked back since. Like I'm gonna get back on my diet hardcore again for a while. Goal is to lose another 40 pounds. And once I get there, then I'll probably abandon keto. But I will say right now, like, over the holidays, I was really lax on it. I am having a hard time sticking with it right now. Really hard time. Like, I've got to drink, like, a smoothie after this, because I'm hounding for something sweet. So. And final question. Let's see here. Oh, Monkey Lint found it. It's called Cradle of Darkness, but it was from the O2 Twilight Zone, not the original.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Brian Gilmartin says, is it fair to say that the rise of progressive politics can be blamed on the lack of pushback from the Republicans and their supporters? I would agree with that, actually. I think that part of the problem with conservatives pre-Tea Party is that they were largely spineless against their political opponents. There was a lack of willingness to fight. And when you don't fight, you get John McCain. When you do fight, you get the killer's row that we had during the primaries in 2016. You think about it, aside from Jeb Bush, there wasn't a lot of weak people on that row. You had a lot of really good candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really a pick-em sort of thing. So
yeah, I think also trying to moralize your politics had an effect as well.
Yeah,
because we definitely saw that from the Republicans. Like, as previously mentioned, around the time Newt Gingrich took the speaker's gavel.
Yeah,
that's when really that started getting huge, and they gradually have moved away from that. But now you've got the Democrats absolutely moralizing their shit. I mean, that's the whole reason why we've got the Women's March and the whole #resist movement in the first place.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and close this out. We have reached our hour mark. For those of you who want to add in questions for the overflow, please tag Micah and the Hatman. Brainbox is not with us today, so I'm moderating as well as hosting here. See, this is what happens. Hatman's on the road. Brainbox is on the road. I got to do everything now. What the crap?
Well, that's because you're snowed in. Otherwise, you'd be on the road too.
No, I'd still be here. All right, but let's go ahead and bring this to a close. Don't go anywhere. We're still going to be having the entertainment podcast probably starting in the next 10 minutes. I'm just going to change out of my suit. And we'll be talking, Hatman has a review of Glass. I have a review of The Punisher Season 2, which I just finished a few hours ago, and we'll be talking about Netflix increasing their prices, EA Games dropping a Star Wars title, and Mortal Kombat fucking 11. So don't go anywhere. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as The Hatman.
And we will see you guys very soon. Deus Vult.
Deus Vult.